What's up, YouTubers? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about the Baltimore Ravens quarterback, Lamar Jackson, and how he's been ranked the 4th overall best player in the league. So let's see what they have to say about that.
Stephen A., he's the MVP, he's that dude, but he struggled in the playoffs, right? We had the Chargers, that deer in headlights game, that was very early on, and then last year, a quicker exit than expected as well. Does he deserve the heavy criticism for the playoff woes?
Yes and no.
Well, we can haggle over the word heavy, but he definitely deserves criticism, and I think that's appropriate here. Lamar Jackson is a superstar talent. We all know. We anticipate he'll win the Super Bowl someday. We anticipate he'll win more MVPs. He's just electrifying. We know that. But you do have a license to compare him, particularly when you consider what he does in the regular season or what he's done in the postseason. The regular season, he's 20-3. He's 0-2 in the postseason. You look at him last year, he threw just one interception from October 6th to the rest of the regular season. He threw two
I'll take those kind of numbers from a third-year quarterback.
interceptions in the postseason. He fumbled the ball just twice all year last season. He lost the fumble in the playoff game, so he had 3 turnovers against the Tennessee Titans. When you look at it from that perspective, you just sit up there and say, excuse me, you're doing things during the regular season that you don't do during the postseason. Last time I checked, when it came to Max Kellerman, that's something he's held James Harden accountable for. And so when I'm looking at...
Yeah, so I wouldn't compare him to James Harden because James Harden can play defense. Lamar Jackson can't play defense, so they have different levels of control of their situation.
From that perspective, I'm saying there's absolutely nothing wrong with appreciating the greatness of Lamar Jackson, recognizing how phenomenal he is, what a bright future he has, and how special he is, while still pointing out that there are things that you have not done in the postseason that you need to do in order to win a game when the regular season is over. That's what this is about, and that's why it's fair to point that criticism. It's not a death knell. It's not an indictment that lives into perpetuity. But it does matter, and it does elevate the level of pressure that's going to come his way come next postseason. The second the regular season is over and the Baltimore Ravens are in, the number one question that's going to be asked about the Baltimore Ravens is, Lamar Jackson, what you going to do? You going to win a postseason game? That's what's going to come with that storyline. That's what's going to come with the Ravens storyline. Number one, period.
So I say yes and no with criticizing Lamar Jackson over the playoff loss last year because I have high expectations for Lamar. So I would say yes because we went 14-2 last year, and he lost. One of the teams that he lost to was the Kansas City Chiefs, and they were Super Bowl champions. And the other team that lost to was the Cleveland Browns. They had no business losing to the Cleveland Browns, but that's probably for another video. But like I said, he went 14-2 last year. And you know, he kind of I think the Baltimore Ravens lost as a team. They choked as a team. Lamar Jackson definitely did his part with the turnovers, but the defense, he can't play defense. So Derrick Henry ran for the ball 29 times for 195 yards, almost 200 yards. He has no control over that. So I would say the Baltimore Ravens choked together as a team. I wouldn't necessarily put it all on Lamar Jackson. So let's continue.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, what's my criticism about James Harden? Okay, you're an MVP in the regular season. Don't be an all-star in the postseason. Be an MVP. And so you can apply the same thing to Lamar Jackson, although he's much earlier in his career. You know, as a rookie, he looked like, as a first-year quarterback, he looked like a deer in headlights in that game. But his learning curve is so steep that by the end of the game, he looked like a different quarterback to me. Like, if that guy would have shown up, maybe they still lose, but it's not like it was. And then this past season, I want to say he was the first player in history, Stephen, I'm remembering this stat from months and months ago, to rush for 100 yards and pass for 300 yards in a playoff game. So you're right about especially the timing of the lost fumble. That was really bad. He had some costly turnovers against the Titans. On the other hand, the Titans not only beat the Ravens, they also beat the Patriots. The Titans were on one in the last postseason and, in fact, had a lead against Kansas City. Now, here's where we start to really look at and you said you wouldn't say heavy criticism. We can split hairs here. This is why I don't think it's exactly heavy criticism. Patrick Mahomes came back on the Titans. Lamar Jackson is not Patrick Mahomes. Neither is Tom Brady, and neither could.
Well, let's see. Let's take a quick look at that situation between Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. So Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago won MVP. Then next year he won the Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl champion right now. Let's take a look at Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson won MVP last year, and this next year we're hoping, or it looks like he has a strong opportunity to win a Super Bowl. So him and Patrick Mahomes are kind of pretty much on the same timeline of as far as achievements. So if you want to make any comparisons, I mean, I have to wait another year or two to make that type of comparison, because if you really want to split hairs, Lamar Jackson had a better year than a regular season than Patrick Mahomes did. I mean, the man went 14-2. I know he got beat by the Chiefs, by Patrick Mahomes and all that, but still, that's excellent. If they improve just a little bit, that means they win maybe 15 games. They go 15-1, or even run the table 16-0. So it's going to be, I would definitely be careful with making comparisons between Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, because they're both kind of on the same timeline. And that's why I can't wait till, September 28th, where they play against each other. I think that's what they're going to be like, the 4th or 5th week or something like that. But it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. So let's continue.
But Patrick Mahomes can. So no, he's not Patrick Mahomes. Is that fair criticism? Yep. I mean, if that's criticism, who's Patrick Mahomes? Just Mahomes. Was the timing, you're right, to point out, hey, the guy never turns the ball over, except when you really don't need him to, and then he does. But it was against an excellent defense at a time where teams really can study up on you and focus just on you in a different way even than in the regular season. And given the heightened situation and everything, maybe you're a little more likely to turn it over. Still, if he wants to join the ranks of Mahomes, if he wants to take that next step, and you're right, people are eventually going to say, can you win a playoff game, dude? Like a playoff game? But regular season, he's the MVP. If he wants to be in the Mahomes conversation, he's got to win in the postseason, period.
Well, I mean, that kind of goes without saying. I mean, you don't need to say that. And I've had a lot of faith that Lamar Jackson will get his first playoff win next year. Like I said, it was a whole team, the whole Baltimore Ravens choked as a team. The offense, the defense, the special teams, everybody choked in that game last year against the Tennessee Titans. I expect a lot more from that squad, this coming up year. So let's continue.
Holmes came back on the same team that he fumbled against and couldn't come back on. I'm just saying, Stephen A., Mahomes is a hell of a standard. I don't think Lamar is in Mahomes' category, but I don't think anyone is. You can put him with anyone else.